difficulties. Just like the Eagles not performing up to par. Hey, what's up? What's happening? Happy Tuesday night. No sports on tonight. So you got to listen to me. And if you miss any of the show, want to watch it later, you got to go listen wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, iHeartRadio app. And a rare solo show today. We're going to talk about the Eagles. Are they in trouble? The rest of the NFL. The Phillies are out. Philly Rob stays. And the Flyers, not really. Not so much Flyers. I'll just lose people, I think, at this point with the Flyers. But I'll start with them because they had an amazing play to end the game last night. And they won. They won big. And, they're going to be fun to watch and they'll probably make the playoffs this year. That's all I'll say about the Flyers. If you're down in the dumps about Philly sports, watch them because they play hard and they do what we ask our teams and our favorite players to do. And that's play hard. But, Eagles drama, I don't get it. I don't get the Eagles drama one bit because the rest of the league, there's no really great teams out there, so to speak. And leave your comments. We'll put them up on the screen. But there's no great teams out there. The Bills went down last night to the Falcons. The Commanders lose to the Bears. And the Cowboys catch an L after making fun of us for losing for the Giants. So there's no really great teams out there. And to have all this drama after losing a game or two when this thing is wide open, just, this will be a true test for Nick Sirianni. It is a true test. He had a few tests in his career. The big collapse in 23. Is it from the first day he stepped foot as the head coach of this football team with the flowers and all that good stuff. This will be a true test for Nick because this just exemplifies mental toughness and mental willpower. Like, I don't know how many times AJ Brown has to read that book to realize your inner excellence and to be able to turn the page and to perform yourself. But this thing is wide open. I don't know why people would want to get traded or want to give up at this point. There's still plenty of games left. It's week 7. And you're going to play the Giants again. You're going to play a Vikings team, which I don't even know who the starting quarterback is going to be. And you're going to get a bye. You're basically where we were at last year, a little bit later in the season at 2-2, when we were like, we don't know what this team is going to be. And the biggest difference I see is just depth. Like, they were completely healthy the entire season last year. The offensive line, best in football. This year, they've had guys coming in and out. They are not as deep on the defensive line. And last year, they had like 7 corners that could play. I mean, they had Maddox could play. Slay could play. Isaiah Rodgers played a lot. Cooper DeJean didn't really even play until he didn't really even emerge until, I don't know, after the bye and really showed out in that Ravens game like late in the season. So they had so many guys get on the field last year that were much better than some of the depth we have this year. So that's the biggest difference. And when you're the number one team, really the only place for you to go is down. And everybody else that's nipping at your heels, the only way for those guys to go is up. So it's not a lost season if you win, 10 or 11 games instead of 14. You get 10-7 instead of winning 14 or 15 games, and you win a playoff game or two. Like, it's not a lost season. And that's where I get really, I love the one game at a time mentality, take it day by day, da 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 da. But when you're in your feels and you don't have the mental fortitude to overcome like one simple loss when you could totally rally and get it back or work on some stuff, when this thing's going to be wide open for the better part of the season, it really drives me nuts. I think that's kind of where you have to change the approach and the mindset. You can't take it one day at a time. You got to look back and say, hey, we're 4-2. We could win, the next 6 games. We could win we can go 4-2 again and be 8-4 with several games left to play and control our own destiny in the division. You almost have to, if you're like looking at that dog mentality, it's like the definition of insanity. You go to work every day and you lose a coworker and you're somebody cancels on you and a customer yells at you and you have a bad day, and then you go the next day and it happens again and you can't get out of the mud and you're stuck in your own way. You almost have to take a step back and look at, like, well, hey, what we're thankful for. We just won the Super Bowl. We still have great players here. We're going to get guys back. We could still make some moves before the deadline. Like, they almost have to coach the team a little bit differently than that dog mentality thing, one day at a time. I get it. But when you're in a collapse and you're saying take it one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time, everyone's like, shut the heck up, dude. And then we'll look around you. Like, nobody's saying Josh Allen stinks. He threw like 4 interceptions and they've lost 2 games in a row. So the biggest problem I see with the Eagles is the media, them getting in their feels and them, quote unquote, beating themselves, and us and the pressure amounting to them so much that we give up on them way too early. Go Birds. There's no reason to give up on this thing way too early and have to trade AJ Brown and get rid of people. Honestly, there's no reason for it. Unless you're going to get back like Myles Garrett. There's no reason to trade AJ Brown. The debt next year, your biggest strength. That's why this year's not a failure. If you win 10, 11 games and you get bounced in the first round of the playoffs, or you win one playoff game. Like, next year, you have so much cap space and so many draft picks, and you may come to the realization hiring from within just doesn't work in the OC world. And you go out and you get a veteran play caller and you have all these picks and you have all this capital. I'm not punting it to next year, but why would you trade an AJ Brown and have a dead cap hit this year of like $40 million that's going to carry over in the next year when you have great players that you need to build on and figure out how to get the freaking football to and not be so damn predictable? So they're big. It always starts in the trenches, and this team is loaded with skill players on offense, and the O-line hasn't played up to par. They'll get there. You have a center coming off injury. You have Landon that's missed parts of games and missed the entire game last week. You have Lane who's missed parts of 2 games. You've had a revolving door there, and you've got Jalen Carter who's missed 2 games, and you've got a defensive end that retired. Like, can they make a trade? Can they just work with what they got? Maybe the defense isn't that good, but the offense can carry them a little bit. The defense isn't going to carry them. The defense wasn't that great at the beginning of last year. So it's very weak for a tough sports city and professional players who have championship mentality and dog mentality to give up now and have all this stuff. If there's any validity to this guy retiring because of the locker room drama, that's just ridiculous. I think the main reason he retired is he came in to be a role player and a rotational player, and they were going to have this dude out on the field every single snap, and he was just like, "F this." I'm wishful thinking. I'm an optimist to think that that's why he retired. He doesn't want to play every single snap, because other than that, they'll be fine. They don't have to win 15 games. They need to win a couple conference games out of the Bears, the Lions, and the Packers. They need to win 2 of those games, and they'll be in super control. If they win 1 of those games and they take care of their division, they'll probably win the division. So they need corner. They need maybe a safety. They need offensive line depth, which they're probably not going to get because nobody's giving you an offensive lineman that's a worth of anything unless, they're rebuilding and we have all these picks. And their defensive line. So they have 4-5 position groups, and they have an offensive coordinator who's running this 2x2 formation with mirrored routes where these 2 guys stop and 2 guys run verticals, and they know exactly what's coming at them. And they're not running the freaking football. They're not running the football. Last year they ran the ball like 56% of the time, almost close to 60-40 run to pass. These last 2 games, they've passed the ball 55% of the time. It's reversed. They're passing more than they're running the ball. They have Saquon Barkley. And they got 2 other thumpers. They got A.J. Dillon. Come out and run the football and get positive yards on first and second down. Sirianni almost got fired at 2-2, and he rallied. And the defense played better, and the offense found an identity. They had to run the ball. It's like, I don't know what the saying is. I don't know what the Eagles do well. I don't know if any team at this point in the year knows what they do well yet. I mean, you just saw the Falcons beat the Bills. You saw, this Bears team who is bad, but they have Ben Johnson who killed it with the Lions. And now their offense is only going to get better as the Bears go on. Like, these teams that were bad are going to progress and get better. Giants are going to get better. Giants might have an offensive rookie of the year and a defensive rookie of the year. Like, we're at the top. Everybody's gunning for you. You're not going to win every single game. I'm sorry. You have to be able to respond and not just quit. Absolutely ridiculous. You got Aaron Rodgers, who's awful. They're like, this dude should just retire. Run him out of town. The Steelers are 4-1. They looked awful. They almost lost week 1 to the Jets. And the Jets haven't won a game. The people, someone just commented, you gotta look at options at OC. In the middle of the season, they're not changing OCs. Got some of the best players ever. If you're building your team on Madden, it's ridiculous. Nobody's saying Josh Allen stinks after throwing 4 interceptions and he just got married and he could make all the excuses in the world. But they want to pick on Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts has not played well. But what he has done in the last 2 games is, instead of throwing for 150 yards, he threw for 280 yards. So they don't know what they want to be, and they're going to have to go back to running the football. Mentally, the pressure of being number 1 got to them, but they should be ecstatic that they beat the Cowboys, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Bucks. Cowboys had the number 1 offense, and they're literally record-wise, they're 15th in the NFC. And the Chiefs now evened up their record, and they're beating the Chiefs, and the Bucks are 5-1. You think when the Bucks lost to us, they just gave up? No, they're freaking 5-1 because they're good. They lost their wide receiver. You think they're just going to quit and give up? No. Why does the locker room drama and the media in Philly got to just overreact? They could lose 2 more in a row and be 4-4 and still rip off 6 games in a row and be 10-4. Like, play the games. Win a football game one time. Playing the Vikings, you stink. Give me a break. Their defense is good, but come on, show that the offense has some life. I'll get back to the Eagles and we'll look at the Eagles and Vikings in our picks. But first off, I got to address the rumors that is Bryce Harper might get traded. So the rumor, see, this is why these Eagles team can't just start believing the outside noise. The face of the franchise, Bryce Harper, is going to get traded, or Trey Turner, who has like a $200-something million contract and is not even that good, is going to get traded. The rumors are that one of the big contract guys, which is literally two people, because Schwarber's a free agent and Nick Castellanos gets paid like $20 million and you can just cut him at this point. The rumor is that, and Wheeler's on the last year of his deal. The rumor is one of the guys with the big contracts, which is two people, are getting, one of them, they're open to trading to just kind of shuffle the deck because they've got the pitching and the hitting hasn't worked. Try and rework the offense. The rumor is one of these guys is going to be traded, and the most likely or the most desirable for a big market team or a team that has salary cap or is looking for a marquee player, it would be Bryce Harper. So you're telling me Philly Rob's job is safe, and then the Phillies are going to trade Bryce Harper. Phillies are going to trade Bryce Harper. None of this is happening, by the way. And John Middleton can match any deal that a team throws to Schwarber. If the Phillies are not willing to pay Kyle Schwarber 5 years, $30 million and give him $150 million, where he's going to sell $1,150,000 jerseys every year, no team's going to do it. No team's going to give him 5 years. So then his agent goes, oh, let me get 4 years, 100, 120 million. The Phillies can write that check. It's just a matter of whether they want him or not. Or they want to use the resources elsewhere. But they're going to unload a big contract. Give me a break. They're going to keep Rob Thompson. By the way, Rob Thompson, I wish somebody could pull it up for me. Rob Thompson's win percentage in the regular season is like, over the last 4 or 5 years, it's second to only the Dodgers. And if you remember the Dodgers' history, they just kept knocking at the door, making the playoffs every year until finally they won one. You can't really count the COVID year. They won last year, and they could very well do it again. We'll see what happens tonight. They're up 1-0 in the series. But the Dodgers just kept knocking. And they got a couple guys from like Japan. And the Phillies are rumored to be interested in a couple big players coming overseas. But they're going to keep Philly Rob and they're going to trade Bryce Harper. Give me a break. This media's got nothing to talk about. They've got nothing to talk about but to just make shit up. It's crazy. It's crazy. I work in the media business. I work in the radio business. And I see it every day because we're not like one-sided or trying to get a rise out of people. We have like both. Talking to somebody this weekend about it. We have both sides. Like we have the most conservative stuff, and then we have the most liberal stuff. We have like Charlemagne the God. Like we have sports, we have music. Go Birds ticket! We have everything. So for me, it's not biased. I see all these shows get produced. And what I'm getting at is they're just trying to hold their audience. There's so many places for you to get your news. There's like a half a dozen people across all platforms watching me live now. There's a few hundred people that download the podcast. There's a few tens of thousands of people that follow our page. There's most of you follow like 50 Eagles news aggregators and influencers and TV news networks and highlight clips and the actual team's social media themselves. And they're all trying to hold the audience and sell advertising. The Phillies are not trading Bryce Harper. And the stupid Eagles players should not buy into. They feed into the media. They do. What's up, Dolan? Team Drew. Me and the Moose are entering the Pigs in a Blanket contest this weekend. The Moose is loose, baby. So, shout out to Dolan's Bar, who's been doing a hell of a job as mayor. PJ Dolan, my boy. He's been doing a hell of a job. They had a big block party this weekend. Coordinated everything. PJ for mayor, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So last year, I hate this CJGJ thing. Let me just start this off by saying the Eagles are not signing CJGJ. The Eagles are not, as soon as I post this clip tomorrow morning, the Eagles are not signing CJGJ. However, last year, in a Vic Fangio defense where they could interchange players, could Nakobe Dean play linebacker with Zach Bond and Jihad Campbell play edge, and now all of a sudden you have a great pass rusher? You just basically had a free agent acquisition just by getting Nakobe Dean back. Could you slot in, a safety to play nickel and move Coop outside? Now all of a sudden you have Quinyon Mitchell, you have Coop, CB's 1 and 2, and then play Reed, play a CJGJ, play Makuba when he's back, play Sidney Brown in a hybrid position. I know we'll be signing another corner, but I can't watch Adoree Jackson and I love Mama Ringo, but I can't watch Keely Ringo play football. And last year, these guys would all play and rotate in. Somebody would come out and somebody would come back in. So, and the defense didn't miss a beat. And from watching Fangio for years and the last couple years with the Dolphins and with the Eagles, it was always like positionless players. Like they would put the best, 5 to 7 DBs out there that they had. So that would be the only validity I would see to sign CJGJ, because I think between, Reed and Makuba and Sidney, I think they're better at safety than they are at corner now. If Coop plays, safety in base format, or he jumps into the slot or whatever he does, or they want to utilize him or move him around, I think they're a little stronger at safety than they are than at corner. But if there's no corners out there that can play, and you can get some safeties and you can move one of your safeties into the slot, and now you free up your 2 young corners to play corner, do it. It can't be any worse. I mean, it can't be any worse. Like, can they teach these guys to play another position and to just put the best guys out there? I don't care what their natural position is. Put the best guys out there, and they have weeks to figure it out. Weeks. They don't know how to win. They don't have to win 15 games. They really don't. They got to get into the tournament. They got to win the division. They got to win some football games, and then anything can happen. So, dude, thank you. Ringo couldn't. Dude, thank you. Ringo couldn't hold. Yeah, I don't know. It's everything. Everyone likes to blame in this business. They want to put all the blame on the quarterback, put all the blame on the coordinator or on Adoree Jackson. They're all not doing well, and they all have kind of a piece of this thing. And if one guy's out of position and another guy's out of the position, they play as a team. It's the greatest team sport there is, which is why if this guy knows your system and he's sitting on his couch, what did he do that they hate him so much? And how bad did he get? Or how mouthy did he get? Or how physically declined did he get that all these teams had him on their practice squad or cut him? I mean, there's a reason for that. There's a reason how he got rid of him, and there's a reason why he keeps getting cut from these teams. No question. But who else do you got? Now, I don't think they'll sign him. I started by saying I don't think they'll sign him. But they need, right now with injuries, they need bodies. They need to work him out. They need to work out other corners. They need to work out an offensive lineman or two. They need to work out, behind Carter and Ajomo. They need to work out and Davis, a fourth tackle. They need to work out behind. They can't go into the game with Ojulari and Uche and Patrick Johnson with three defensemen. Like, they have to bring people in. Like, they were off since Thursday. They like waved a running back or something from the practice squad. It's like, what are they doing? I know there's not that much out there, but there's got to be guys that they looked at, like undrafted guys or guys that were on other teams in the preseason that they saw or in joint practices. There's got to be guys that they value. Got to be people out there. From crying out loud, their starting left tackle is a rugby player. Their scouting department has got to be able to find something to fill holes or project players or depth pieces, even if they're non-starters and they're going to roll with who they've got at this point. There's got to be people behind them because those guys get hurt, and then who's next? And last year, that was where, they could, if Becton was hurt, they could move Steen in there. They could move, Landon to center when Cam Jurgens went out. Cam Jurgens has back surgery. Landon Dickerson has had knee issues all year. Lane has missed better part of 2 games. Like, they're not going to get a lineman, and Stoutland's going to make it work. But you know how you get the O-line to pass block better? You don't pass the ball 55% of the time. You don't pass the ball 55% of the time. You go back to last year and you literally run the ball. I didn't get to finish it. I hope you guys watch it. What's my fault of the Minnesota game? I hope you guys watch the Saquon Barkley documentary. I didn't even get to the point where he's on the Eagles yet. It's still his Giants thing. And we saw it in Hard Knocks and stuff. But before that, what a botched operation that team was. I can't believe they're going to hit possibly. I hope he just played out of his mind last week and he ends up stinking. But I can't believe this Joe Schoen is going to hit on an potential offensive rookie of the year and a defensive rookie of the year, because that guy is a disaster watching that Saquon documentary. But even on those teams, he would make a guy miss even when the offensive line was no good, and he would have productive games. Like, give the guy the ball. Like, give the guy the football. There was an entire. I'm watching this documentary, and when they played the Eagles in 2022 in the playoffs, when the Eagles were going to the Super Bowl, they in the first half, they gave the Giants, when Saquon was on the Giants, and it was the year the Eagles went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs. We played them. We blew them out like 38-7 in the first round of the playoffs. They gave Saquon the ball in the first half like 4 or 6 times. Like, if you're playing the Eagles that are way better than you, don't you want to give Saquon the ball a bunch of times? And when you're up against the Denver Broncos and all you have to do is do what the Eagles do best and play keep away and run the clock out, don't you want to give the ball to Saquon Barkley? And I don't put it all on Petula because Jalen Hurts at the line can check into a run. Run the ball. Sounds simple. I don't want to be like run the ball guy, but you're not playing well. You don't want your defense out on the field the entire game. So run the football. Control the clock. Keep the defense there as little as possible. Saquon's only offering averaging 3 yards a carry. You know what happens when you run the ball on first down and get 3 yards, and then you run the ball on second down and get 3 yards? That's 6. And then you run the ball on third down and get 3 yards. That's 9. It's 4th and 1. And you know what play the Eagles are going to call at 4th and 1? Now, you can't do that at your own 20, but you guys get the picture. Get positive yards instead of being 2nd and 13 and 3rd and 7. So they run the ball, they don't get anything. They either take a sack or they check it down, and it's 3rd and 7. They throw it underneath. 2 stop routes, 2 guys going verticals. They check it down to the back or tight end, 3rd and 7. That's why they stink. Predictability is the word they used. Predictability. You know how you don't be predictable? They have so many options built in that offense. Whatever you did, do last week. Don't pass the ball 55% of the time. Run the ball 55% of the time. Flip it. Wild. Wild stuff. He's got Reggie Bush cuts. Yeah, he does. You know what I think? And if you missed any of the stream, we did, the Eagles in trouble? Absolutely not. The NFL right now, everybody stinks and everybody's good. Just because A.J. Brown has no yards doesn't mean he's going to have no yards the next game. I've seen teams get shut out and score 3 points and then the next week score 38. So why does what happened last week or what happened have to indicate what's going to happen for the rest of the season? Mentally, grow up, wake up, and
go Birds, dickhead. Fuck you talking about?
Yeah, my boy Malik.
Go Birds, dickhead. Fuck you talking about?
I got him on the drop line. What do I think about the game? Let's do Eagles Vikings. Can anybody tell me before we do our picks? Can anybody tell me who's starting quarterback for the Vikings this week? Get him, Landon. Can anyone tell me? Kevin O'Connell, there's no mystery about there's no mystery. I'd like to see the D-line more pressure, blah, blah, blah. The D-line's not going to get any pressure. They don't got nobody. The way the D-line's going to get pressure is bringing in bodies, rotating in guys, and keep staying them off the field. The offense has to stay on the football field. Wentz, McCarthy, who's this guy? Browning. JJ McCarthy hasn't been named for the week 7 starter 3 hours ago. So he's coming back from injury. Wentz is stunk, and they might still go to their 3rd guy, which I don't even know who that guy is. And it's really murky. And I'm really pissed. Max Brosmer. And the Eagles are 1.5 point favorites. 1.5 point favorites. We should be I know it's in Minnesota. We should be 9 point favorites if Max Brosner is the starting quarterback. So I honestly did not love the Eagles on a short week against the Giants. I had predicted either one of the two Giants games we lose. We just kept had their number. We beat them like 2 times in a row, like a bunch of seasons in a row. We usually, we this division, as you see, it's a 500-ish division. We're going to be splitting with some of these teams. We might split with all of them. We might split with the Commanders. They look, even though they lost, they look better than us last night. Move the ball, look good in the red zone. And the Cowboys, the Cowboys move the ball and have had success on offense where the Eagles have not. So I wouldn't be surprised if we went, 3-3 in the division. So we'll beat the Giants the next time we see them. And I think it's a long-winded way. It has nothing to do with the Vikings. But as a long-winded way is we'll beat the Vikings. I did not love the Eagles against the Giants. All eyes were on the Phillies. I missed the better part of that game. And by the time the Phillies were over going to the extras, the Giants it was too late. Jalen threw the pick, the interception, and the game was pretty much over. Depends if Ringo or Jackson started. So came out today, Vic Fangio. So if you guys didn't see this in the comments, somebody put that the Eagles win depends on whether Ringo or Adoree Jackson's starting. But Adoree Jackson is going to start. So your corners are going to be Coop. Quinion's still hurt too. Quinion didn't play in the Giants game. So hopefully it's Coop. Quinion is questionable, and Adoree Jackson, and then hopefully your safeties are Reed and Makuba. But how bad is Sidney Brown or Makuba or Epps or any of these safeties that they can't play in the slot and they can't move Coop outside? I still don't understand that. I would take Reed Blankenship, Marcus Epps, Andrew Makuba, and Sidney Brown out in the field over Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo. So why can't 3 of these safeties play? I don't understand it. I really don't. None of these safeties can play nickel, or Coop's that good where they want to keep him in the nickel, or they want to have him play safety when they're in base. Put the best 5 DBs out on the field. So my Eagles prediction, Eagles, Vikings, and we'll get to meme of the week before we sign off, but Eagles, Vikings, it is going to be a close game because the Eagles are struggling right now. I do think the Eagles will win. I like looking at the odds when I make predictions. Some people call me a fraud, but Eagles 1.5 point favorites. Game props. I'm trying to find points. 44. Ooh, this 44.5. They have the Eagles points at nobody, nowhere. This is gonna be a tough listen for people that got to this portion of it. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to. I don't like looking at the over under where it's 44. That's like a 24-20 game or 20. It's a 1-point game, so it's 44. It's 23, 21-ish, 22-ish. But I like to see each individual team they have over under for points. That's really telling for me for what they think the Eagles offense can do against a stout Vikings defense. A Vikings defense that's very good. 43.5. Nobody. There's no points on any of the teams. Oh, they don't. They don't know. They don't know what the Eagles are scoring. Game lines. Yeah, they don't have it. They usually have it. Like it's over 22 for the Eagles or whatever. So I'm gonna go 24-20 Birds. They gotta. They're better than this Vikings team. They are. The Vikings have a decent record. They're not good. I mean, they played like 2 overseas games. I don't know how they fared out there. They maybe split there. But I don't think this Vikings team is good. I really don't. The Eagles lose to this team, they're going to be in big trouble. They beat the Bears, but that was Bears for the Bears. It looks like they're Ben Johnson's offense. It took them a little bit to get going and learn everything. Viking strength is their defense. So they beat the Bears in a close one, week 1. They lost to Atlanta. Now, Atlanta's had some signature wins. They've also had a game where they got blanked. That's why I don't understand. They beat a bad Bengals team. By far their most dominant win, but probably a lot of defensive touchdowns, 48-10. They won a big Bengals game, but the Bengals stink. They have no quarterback, nothing. That was an ugly, disgusting game. They lost to Pittsburgh, who's tough, and they beat the Browns, who stink. So their 3 wins are the Bears before they got anything going, really. New coach. Their best win was probably against the Bears because the Bears looked pretty decent last night. But other than that, their other 2, they have 3 wins. They're 3-2. Their wins are the Bears, the Bengals, and the Browns. They really haven't beat anybody good. And as much as you could say about the Eagles have beat good teams. The Eagles beat the Chiefs. They beat the Bucks. They beat the Cowboys. At one point, the Cowboys had the number 1 offense. So, and the come from behind win and the Broncos blowing the game evens each other out, and it's better in favor of the Eagles because the Rams game was a conference game and the AFC game was at a conference game. But there's no reason they should have lost the Broncos game. Giants, you could really say, as much as people think the Eagles could be like 1-5, you could really say that the Giants game was a fluke because they should have beat the Broncos and they basically beat everybody else. So, yeah, the Bears. I've liked the Bears. I think they have good skill players. I like Ben Johnson. The screen games and everything. They looked a lot like the Detroit Lions offense. They got all the running backs involved. The Bears offense looked good, and the Commanders just turned the ball over too many times. They had a bunch of fumbles. Other than that, the Commanders probably would have won that game. But both teams looked okay last night. But yeah, I'm gonna do Eagles 24-20. Let's look at our back at the page this week. Let's look at some of our favorite posts. It was a rough one in Philly sports land, but this is our favorite part of the show. Before you guys head out, we do a little scroll down our page and we see what is going on. So we call it Sports in the Show Meme of the Week. This is where we usually pick a viral post from the page, and it's brought to you by our friends Ponley Hockey. They've been a huge help to us, and they have also helped our friends at the Hungry Dogs Tailgate, sponsored their tailgate, and they've been a huge partner of ours. You probably catch us in their commercials on TV. Meme of the Week brought to you by Ponley Hockey, and I also want to give a huge shout out to Lucky Energy, Crooked Tea working with us this year, Garage Beer, McDonald's, McDonald's Philly region, incredible partner this season. And if you want to work with us, let's get it, baby. We'll do a couple. Vic's not here. This one was really funny. I liked it because the Cowboys lost.
Where it all turns around, baby.
The season all turns around, baby. Boom. Also, this post went nuclear. I said the Eagles are going to have to start trying people out because they're so thin here. It's from Invincible, the picture. Some of the people caught it, but 4 years varsity. I'm in the best shape of my life. And honorable mention to Kevin Patullo. Vote for him to be the Penn State's new coach. By the way, before signing off, go Birds. Yeah, Penn State would be dumb to not court Matt Rule. We don't really mess with college, but that dude, he's in college, NFL, he got a rough go of it, but in college, Temple, they were kind of relevant with him as a coach, and Nebraska's doing pretty well, but he may just want to stay there and be the coach forever and just hide in Nebraska, but you don't want to be Nebraska coach when you can be Penn State. Come on, get real. Thank you guys for watching this week. We'll be back next week, and we got Eagles Vikings this week, and then we got a nice home tailgate for Eagles Giants. If you're going to that Eagles Giants game, hit us up, and we'll be doing some giveaways. Go Birds.